This is a portion of my mess. That corner there is also a portion of my mess. And by my mess, I mean my life. I don't know if you could really see this before. Today, I am not feeling too great. I'm not feeling horrible, but I'm not feeling too great. I'm feeling slower, a little bit of fatigue, and some sore throat. Much better than yesterday, which wasn't that bad either. Just to be mindful and grateful of the reality of what I'm feeling. Today, I have to go pick up 2 books that I got from the library. I wanted the 2 first parts of Narnia because I feel like it's something that C.S. Lewis is my favorite author, and I've never read Narnia, and I've never seen the movie because I've never read the books, and I own the last one because I accidentally got it purchased when I was a child, thinking it was The Last Unicorn, because there's a unicorn on it, and it's called The Last Battle, and my mom doesn't speak English. But, you know, it actually really helped me out because that book meant a lot to me, even though I never read it. But so I was going to go through some of my books, specifically Chuck Palahniuk, Colleen Hoover, and just some, like, silly novels and some silly self-help books that I don't really attune to. I've just had for a while, and I'm going to skim through them, make sure that I don't want them. The Colleen Hoover and the Chuck Palahniuk ones, excluding one of each, actually. So Never Never, I'm keeping from Colleen Hoover because it's a book that I found when I was on a cruise, and I read through it on the cruise, and it actually kept me kind of sane. Not because she's an amazing writer or anything, but that book was good. It was good, you know, like it got me entertained. It had somewhat of a different premise than the other ones. Oh, I'm lying. Sorry. I'm also going to keep the second part of It Ends With Us because I read It Ends With Us, and then I saw It Ends With Us, and I want to keep in the loop, and I do want to read the sequel. I don't think that one was horrible. I actually think that she did a good job of showing certain things about domestic violence. I don't agree with how it ended up being spoken of or portrayed of or whatever in the movie. But that's exactly why I want to keep in the loop. And then for Chuck Palahniuk, I'm going to keep Invisible Monsters because I haven't read it yet. And one of my favorite bands, Motion City Soundtrack, I know that they have a song inspired by it. I can't recall right now, but I remember knowing it when I was younger. So yeah, basically all of the other ones, those 2 authors in specific, to me, they kind of write the same story with different characters, and it's kind of nonsensical, and I don't really care for them as authors in general, if that makes sense. So, yeah. So I was going to sort that out and go take it to the library when I go pick up my other books, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go get coffee, and then I'm going to go get the books, and then maybe read them there for a little bit, and then later do that. Who knows? Hi, guys. This is day 1. Well, day like a million, not a million, however many days it is in 31 years of living. But for the for the logistics of this video, I will say day 1. This is day 1 of me getting my shit sorted so that I don't have to pay for a storage unit another month, and that I don't feel insane and like a non-person. I've lived a lot in my head, and physically I've lived in millions of places. Again, an exaggeration. Why am I doing that today? I don't feel too great, like I already mentioned, but day 1, I did not do the book thing just yet. I'm gonna go get coffee, and then I'm gonna get to work on that stuff. I'm trying not to really put pressure on myself, even though I do want to do this all in 1 week. I feel like the more pressure I put on myself, the more I tend to hyper focus on other things like planning or procrastination. And again, I'm sorry that I'm repeating my words and a little bit all over the place today. Maybe even my eyeballs are moving weird, but I'm just kind of fatigued and whatnot. But yeah, heading off to get coffee and then pick up my library books. Honestly, a weird day. It's one of those days where you feel like you didn't know what choice to make, and then you make a choice, and then you're like, I made the wrong choice. But yeah, I came to this place that I really like for a chai tea latte, and then sometimes they'll text you and be like, oh, you have a little free mini empanadas, and then the free mini empanadas, they didn't have any but cheese, which I'm not a fan of, but they're not bad actually at all. But then the chai latte, it's like everybody's new today or something, which is fine. It's just one of those days. So turns out that they were just doing it differently from the other times. Cool. So I'm reading this book on time. How do we know the nature of time? And it's September 23rd, and a lot of people were talking about maybe it's the apocalypse or whatever, so I just thought this was interesting. It's talking about how more or less like time was just based on seasons and the sun and the moon and all of that. Like I actually didn't know the exacts until I read the first chapter, but you probably already know. And then the Catholic Church decided that they needed more specific times because they really wanted to know like the day of the creation, judgment, or whatever. So this portion here about the like basically what is it called, revelations and stuff like that, and how today might be the resurrection day. So the day of judgment. This interest lasted up through the end of the first millennium AD. In AD 1000, in fact, many people did think that the end of the world had come and waited on hilltops all night for the Lord's final judgment. They had interpreted various events at the time of fulfilling the prophecy of Christ's return, including the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. When instead the sun rose as usual on the next morning, they must have felt sheepish, relieved, or both, as they returned to their homes and work. But they weren't the only ones to be fooled like this. Some people at the end of the 19th century also believed that time had run out. They also went up onto hilltops to pray and wait for the end of the world all night, and then went home, happy or disappointed, when sunrise came as usual. So I just thought that was interesting because it's kind of happening now from what I see online. And I am someone who has always really related is maybe a strong word, but I've always really thought about Revelations and Judgment Day and all of that. And then I saw somebody post something like, no one knows what time it is. And just coincidentally reading this book, well, nothing's a coincidence. Obviously, I'm reading this book for reasons. And obviously, I'm reading it today for reasons. But I just think it's kind of funny. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out. I guess I just wanted to point out something funny that I was thinking of. How in both examples they say like, oh, they were either happy or disappointed that the world did or didn't end. And to me it's like common nature as to why that is, but I maybe think that some of you might not think about it, so I just want to share my thought. Plus this is my video, so I can do that. So I think it's funny because the implication is that some people are waiting for the apocalypse, and I feel like when I was younger especially, that was actually a big reason as to why I thought this. Like I saw the world as upside down since very young, like basically birth, I would say. I always saw it as something that wasn't natural and wasn't beneficial. And in the beginning, I wouldn't say I struggled as much mentally as a lot of people, but physically, like being one with this world and trying to communicate with the people at least around me at the time, I found it very difficult. And I saw not the revelation and the apocalypse as like something bright to look forward to, and I didn't necessarily think I was going to die, if I'm honest, but I did see it as something that would bring an end to what I thought this was. And since I saw it as something so negative, I did see it positively. And I think a lot of people throughout all of the times get caught up in the cycle of their life, and when they don't know how to change it or alchemize it, they end up wanting it to end. And it's not a suicidal thought, but more so a kind of a faith. Like they're looking forward to the change of what they know can't be. Does that make sense to you? It makes a whole lot of sense to me, but maybe not in like words. In my head, it's clear as day. So yeah. Okay, this part's a little bit less relevant to the date and just relevant to things that I've been thinking of. And now that I think about it, I might just make a whole like each book might have its own little video so that I can use it to study and also just to point out what I like. But I wanted to point this out. This like meant a lot to me, so I don't know if it's going to impact you as much. But for the first time, people were looking to a machine to measure time, rather than consulting the position of the sun. Using mechanical clocks to measure time was very different from using natural events such as the sunrise or the equinox, blah, blah, blah. Now, mechanical times imposed on inflexible regularity of time, abstracting it from the motion of the universe. So I feel like this is all in context to when we first started doing like actual time, and it's all because literally kind of like of taxes, but mostly for working. But I'll get more into that when I make the video on the book. I just wanted to Like, that was really strange. People were looking to a machine to measure time. Oh, geez. Okay. Haven't done the flash in the car in a second on purpose. Like, I'm trying to avoid doing all the videos in the car. So the light is a little off-putting. But also a reminder that I was being more consistent when I was more in my head. So, whatever. That's just for me. I have had a strange day, as I've noted. I'm going to go have some high pot. I have decided to change everything. I guess I had already decided, like, in here, but I hadn't, like, the disconnect between what was in here and what was here was closing slowly and slowly. And now I've decided to just close the gap. Be mindful of the gap. That's for you. So yeah, I feel inclined to go have a nice warm vegetable soup for my throat and to lean off of things that I want to lean off of. And I feel like this is a good in between. So the goal, I'm not going to say the goal yet. I am just transitioning into my goals, and I'll share them in a different video, because today is just day one. Today is just a vlog, thoughts, a speaking to, because it's been almost a week since my last video and I don't want that. And also just like I guess books. I guess I started decluttering my books, so that's what that was today. So it's not gonna look like I'm done when I take the picture or when I show the little clip here, but this is the first time that I come here and I finish. And by finish, I mean that I ate all of the veggies that I wanted to eat, and I finished the broth entirely. Not that everything is gone, because there's a lot of cabbage, and I was stunned. I was so full of cabbage. But yeah, I'm gonna leave now. I'm so full. I'm like full and fatigued, so I'm almost bored of my legs. About to fall asleep. All right, so the last little clip I did before eating, I was cutting off my, like, this part, like half my face, and it's because I was so out of practice of doing this in the car. And I'm glad, because I have, again, been doing this not in the car on purpose, but I feel like I have to say, now I'm going back inside. I'm going to wrestle with the mess that you saw, but no stress, no stress. You're not stressed, I'm not stressed. There's no stress. I'm gonna casually go through my books so that tomorrow I could take over the donation ones. And that's pretty much it, if I'm honest. That is my goal for today. I was gonna focus on clothing too, because it should be relatively easy, because I already have separated it so many times in the last couple months, just like moving back and forth from a bunch of places. But my mirror is still in my storage unit, and the mirror here has like some weird pattern on it that's kind of cool sometimes, but not that good to like actually decide if I want something or not. So that's my excuse as to why I'm only doing books and maybe papers, like maybe stuff. But yeah, I haven't been getting sleepy until around 4 a.m. For like the last 3 days, which is fine. I thought it was because of my sore throat, but I might just be adjusting my schedule in a weird way. But yeah, that was the perfect transition meal, honestly, like, perfect. Yeah, I guess that's it. I might film myself doing a little bit more stuff in the room, or this might be the end for tonight. Happy Rapture. Oh, sorry, I actually don't think I recorded this, but when I was leaving, they were playing the song I Need a Hero, which I really like. I know it from Shrek. I don't know where you know it from, but I really like that song. But unrelated-ish, from hearing that song and walking outside, I felt the need to bring up this other song, which is Let's Fall in Love for the Night and Forget in the Morning. Tell me a song that you like. I could swear I know it. But it's this part. I'm the boy that your boy hoped that you would avoid. Don't waste your time with jealous guys. Fuck that noise. I know better than to call you mine. So, for some reason, together, those two songs seem relevant. I don't know if it's relevant for me, really, but Need a Hero, Holding Out for a Hero, Till the End of the Night, if you've heard that one. And I'm the boy that your boy hoped that you would avoid. So maybe you're dealing with jealousy. Maybe I'm dealing with jealousy. Maybe I will be, because there's nobody in my life to be jealous right now. But, well, I guess they could be jealous. They just wouldn't be telling me. Oh, I don't know. I turned off the camera and then I realized it's not about dealing with jealousy. It's that you were holding out for somebody and then now some guy's showing up and he's like the guy. Like, that makes so much freaking sense. It also now makes sense for me. I have felt like I'm like on the cusp of like meeting my husband, for lack of a better word. I don't know if I've said it out loud physically like that, and it sounds kind of strange. And I saw like literally, this rarely happens because of the angle that I park, but in my rear view right now, I saw a guy just like walking by. Not like I'm gonna chase him and think he's my husband, but it did that. If we're on the same wavelength, guys, he's coming soon, she's coming soon, whoever's watching this, but you're on the brink of happiness and joy in the relationship era, which is awesome. Yeah, that's it. Happy things. But again, happy rapture.